Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George, you just watched a movie. Did you enjoy it? That's what we're gonna find out soon. Hey, Beverly Hills Cop, guys.
You can't do Beverly Hills Cop to that beat, though.
No,
Beverly
you certainly
Hills
can't.
Cop
Cannot do
and Beverly
Axel-
Hills Cop and
Axel
Eddie
Foley.
is Guy and Murphy. It's fine. Hey, George, Beverly Hills Cop. I'm not even worried about this movie because if you don't like it, you should quit the podcast.
This is a fantastic movie.
Oh, thank the fucking Lord. Because
It was wonderful.
it's everything that I ever wanted to watch.
God,
and I
we've been
couldn't
building to
wait.
this
And I'm like,
for so long.
yeah, is George gonna... Like, we did all these cop movies just to watch this movie. This is like this is my scream of cop movies. Okay, good. Hopefully you're not lying.
I mean, I don't know. I'm comparing it to 48 Hours a lot, and it fixed a lot of things
Right.
from 48 Hours. It just it didn't have all the bad continuity, and it was just, you know,
It's a solid movie.
really well done. Eddie Murphy's character was like more, I guess, I don't want to say subdued, but like
Mature.
he was more I don't know.
Focused. He's not like Jim Carrey wacky. He's like...
No, he wasn't. He wasn't
humor
wacky
is-
at all, and his delivery was
hits.
like more dry,
Yeah.
like more even keel. So you kind of weren't sure whether he was being,
Mhm.
sarcastic, but like, and then there were other times when obviously he was, but dude, there were so many lines that were hilarious, but
Mhm.
were like they were just throwaway lines, like when he drives up to the valet. And he's like,
"This shit happened the last time I was here."
Yeah, he's like, make sure you give me a good spot. All this shit happened last time I was here.
That I'd never heard that line before.
Dude.
I've seen this movie probably 100 times, and I forgot completely about that line. I laughed like out loud when I heard that. I was like, "Holy shit, that's funny!" all this shit happened last time I was here. I'm like,
Car's
"Oh
like
my
100 years old.
And she's like, "You were driving that shitty blue Chevy Nova." He's like, "Still driving that Chevy Nova." This movie made me want to go out of... No, it didn't. I didn't want to get a Chevy Nova. Yeah, that and the bananas in the tailpipe was a big thing. Like what we talked about last week with the racism and the characters and all that stuff like that were pointing out racism. This movie, again, is progressively doing that, but does it in a way that doesn't offend anyone. And like when the one cop's like, "Yeah, we're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe," and he's like, "You're not going to fall for the..." Like, he does the voice right back at him, that's Eddie Murphy's white guy voice. Like, he does that in
Been
stand-up.
hanging out with this guy too long.
And he says, "You've been hanging out with this," but he never really takes it to a level where you're like, "Oh, man." Like it's so playful, but hilarious.
Yeah.
And when he does the character in the restaurant, when he goes to see Victor Maitland, and you see him, he's standing there and he does it. He basically says, "I got herpes simplex 10."
Right. Yeah.
And but when you watch him standing there and then he clicks into that character, like he does the wide eyes, like it's so funny to watch that transition because it's coming. That's his Little Richard, impression that he has done many times on Saturday Night Live. And when he just, I watched it this time. I was trying to watch this with a microscope, and there's just so many little nuances and little things that he does that I kind of missed. But I'm glad I watched it that way because I caught a lot of things I never caught before. Did Dan like it?
Well, I mean,
You didn't like the sequel to Fast Times?
no, this is fantastic. This movie rocks. Like, I'm really glad we watched it. I know we've been building to it forever. I don't know if you were like ticking off your bingo card of all the different people you've already seen before that all come together into this movie, even though it was filmed before RoboCop. We have a lot
Yes.
of people from our show we've already covered who now have converged into one fun universe.
Mm. And that's the other thing. Like, we talk about Nick Nolte's character and where he was coming from in 48 Hours, and then they take that character, which is basically Taggart, but they give him such a heart, like what we were talking about with Nick Nolte not having any redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
Taggart's like that gruffy cop, that stereotypical cop, but he's got like this heart of gold, but he doesn't want to go against any of his ethics.
Yeah.
And then Reinhold's character is like like the squeaky clean version of what Taggart probably was 30 years ago. And then Eddie Murphy comes in and screws all that up because he comes from Detroit, where they don't do anything by the book.
Yeah, and Reinhold is so like young and naive,
Mhm.
and and it seems like he's looking for someone to look up to,
Right.
and as
He's so gullible.
and as and is not by the book as Axel is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is the most competent, right? He's not he's not by the book, but he gets the information.
Yes.
The
strip joint scene is hilarious.
There's a lot of competent police work in this movie across the board, even to Ronnie Cox, the guy, Dick Jones from Robocop, when he just off the cuff is like, oh yeah, coffee grounds, they put drugs in those. And all the guys are like, oh, and you see Reinhold's character look at him like, wow, you are a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of good interplay there without anybody just being total Keystone Cop.
And then they kind of show that he was almost interested in following Foley's information until the higher ups come down and basically tell him to make him walk. So that you weren't sure if he was going to be like that guy that's involved, that tropey thing where like the guy in charge is actually involved in the crimes.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually the chief. When I saw the chief, I was like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
When I got the impression that the girl was going to be involved, and I think that's just a
Right.
trope that's established after this movie as a way to twist on the formula that they kind of get perfect in in Beverly Hills Cop 1. So I think they buttered me up to expect the double cross when really
Jenny.
it's just a good
Jenny.
cop movie.
Who had a crush on when I was a kid.
You thought she was going to be Talia?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I never thought that because they did a really good job at establishing her feelings towards Mikey and Axel's feelings. You never really got like a weird, was she involved? Does she know it? Like I never thought of her as being somebody that might turn coat or was working from the inside or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times those turncoats are presented like that, so that you
The only way I
don't
would
you don't see
believe
it
that
coming.
is the interaction between her and Maitland, where he could have forced her to work for him against Foley, but that never happened.
Right.
Because he's intimidating. He's like a Wish.com's Hannibal Lecter.
That's another. He's not. I don't think he's Wish.com.
Oh, I wrote
He's something else.
knockoff Vladimir Lecter because he's kind of got a Putin look to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he
he's definitely got a Lecter thing going on. So
Yes.
that's funny. Yes, I agree.
You know what he didn't do?
He didn't do
No.
that. No.
He didn't say, "You shot me. I got shot."
No, he didn't.
That's another thing that was fixed.
He
This
didn't have a
time
lot
the-
of time because
This time the villain was much more, I don't know, interesting and
Yeah.
like well acted, and still kind of a bit generic, but like that's okay. I mean, it's fine. He was good.
Yeah, he
It was
a good
good.
villain.
and I liked his henchman that was like the knockoff James Caan.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's also in wasn't he in last week's movie? He played a cop in 48 Hours.
Oh, did he?
He was the
48
one-
hours.
Or hers. Yeah, at the beginning I think the other set of cops that were being a pain in the ass to
I
Nolte's character.
I thought I recognized him, but I didn't really know where from.
Yeah, he's a big character actor from the 80s.
Jonathan Banks is his
There's
name.
probably more actors in here that I probably should recognize that don't.
I
I
saw
don't.
3 cameos that made me go, holy shit.
Which were?
The banana person, the guy giving the bananas out, that was Damon Wayans.
Yes.
A very, very, very young Damon Wayans.
Okay. I did not
And
recognize him, but I know who he is.
the security guard's boss, when he's like, "How you doing? Can you come here for a minute?"
Yeah.
The guy that comes over.
And he gave me a match.
And he gave me a match. You gave him a match? The guy who says you gave him that's Rick Dukerman. He's like I think Dukerman. No, he's another Rick Dukerman's from the Burbs. But that guy's another stand-up comedian. And then Paul Reiser was in this as well.
Paul Reiser, who has my favorite line in the movie that's not
This
delivered
isn't
by
my
Eddie
locker.
Murphy. This is not my locker.
Yeah.
You
That's
know how many
good.
times we said that in high school? Whenever a teacher came up to us, like, you're doing something wrong or you're not where you're supposed to be, we're like, this is not my locker. We would walk away.
Such a good line. Great delivery. Love Paul Reiser.
Yes.
When you guys are interested in doing the first 3 seasons of Mad About You all in one big purge,
I'm there,
in.
dude. I love that show, and it's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it, so.
Yeah.
That line, this is this is not my locker. It's another one of those like little throwaway
Yes.
lines that's just hilarious.
Yes. And what's the name of Serge? Who's that guy? He's from
Balky from Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, Balky. I can't remember what his real name is. It's probably on here somewhere. George has the credits up. No, he's not. He's too far down.
That first interaction.
Bronson
between-
Pinchot.
Brah. Yes.
Oh my god.
When he does the get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
the higher
No,
voice
I will
part.
not.
So
No.
good.
No, I will not. I just sold
Oh
it today.
my god. So
It's-
funny.
Oh man.
Did you ever
So
watch
funny.
the later seasons of Step by Step in the 90s after they kicked Cody off because he like did some horrible thing? And so they had to get a new goofy person to be like the outside the family member, and so Bronson Pinchot showed up for a couple of seasons.
Really?
It was not great. But I do like him in this movie.
I'm trying to remember which show was Step by Step.
It's the one,
Remember
it's
Hogan's.
basically the Brady Bunch, but with Patrick Duffy and what's her
Okay.
name from Three's Company?
I remember it.
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers, that's
Yeah.
right. And yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
One of the lesser TGIF family shows.
Yes. I think it came on after Urkel.
Yeah, it was no Family Matters, that's for sure.
That was so funny.
That when they kill Mikey,
Yeah.
like it sucks the air out of the room. It's so cool. Like it's not cool. It's horrible. But like it is so not what you get in these movies today. It's just so cold.
Yeah.
Oh.
You feel like you're watching like a Goodfellas there for a second. It's
Yeah,
like-
and it out of nowhere, and then they never do it again, and it's like the perfect amount of just like gut punch to remind you, like, oh yeah, this movie is not fucking around.
Mhm.
Whew.
Now, I can't remember if the credits came on before you see Eddie Murphy. Do you see him first before they do the opening credits? Or did you know it was an Eddie Murphy movie?
I knew it was an Eddie Murphy movie.
Okay.
I think from the DVD menu.
Ah.
There was
Womp womp.
yeah.
I should have stayed and put it in for you.
Yeah.
No.
Eh.
When I dropped the DVD off, I'm like, maybe I should. Nah. I don't think there's anything.
No, and I didn't even have anyone here to put it in for me.
Oh. That's what she said.
Ha.
Hey-oh.
No, but no, I seriously didn't. It was just me, and I put my daughter to bed and started the movie. And then my wife comes home later, and she sees the second interaction with Serge, and I can tell she's smiling. She thinks
She would like this
she
movie.
thinks it's funny. And I'm like, oh, you think that interaction was funny? You need to see the first interaction.
Oh, man.
Dude.
Yeah, he does his laugh more in this movie
Yeah, it does.
than he does in 48 Hours, but he has so many different levels of it. The more Eddie Murphy movies I watch, the more I realize that that's like his George Burns cigar. Like he just knows how to use it in the right spots, and it's a good punctuation to a joke. Like when he sees when he does the interaction with the concierge about being a Rolling Stone reporter.
Yeah.
And he ends the shout with the N-word, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And the manager's like, oh no, whatever room you want, whatever's going on. I was not expecting that when I remember watching this movie for the first time, and that threw me off. But then I forgot about it, and then when I was watching it last night, I was like, holy crap. But it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because it was just the right kind of progressive, pointing out racism and inequality without being browbeaten.
Yeah, and he had to go over the line to get the
Yes.
room, and he did it just
But
at
he had
the
that
right
whole
time.
story. He didn't have to get all crazy until he punctuates it with that, and that's like, all right.
And this is like, no, absolutely not, no.
No. How'd you feel about the captain? Another trope to these movies is the screaming captain in Detroit.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant the captain in
No, the
Beverly Hills.
captain in Detroit was, when we were watching 48 Hours, I couldn't help but think of this guy, because the guy in 48 Hours was also a screamer, but he wasn't intimidating. He just looked like he was constipated.
I think the captain in
This captain looks like he's got more layers.
I think I like the best captain out of all these movies.
Joey Pants.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woosah.
Yeah.
Woosah.
But I think it's because we'll get to it.
We'll get to. Did you finish watching it?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Ooh, bonus.
Extra
Get a
credits.
Bad Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. I finished Bad Boys.
Noise.
So we'll talk about that a little later. But Joey Pants in both of those movies together makes a perfect,
Yes.
just a perfect comical, angry.
Well, that was what?
Captain.
10 years after this? This was 84, right?
I don't know.
84. So when was Bad Boys?
96,
2000?
98, something like that.
98. Okay. So we had the progression of the captain
Yeah.
from this. In doing my little
95.
bit of research, 84 is a big year for movies. So I forgot this came out in 84. It was a good time to be alive. I wasn't old enough to go see this in the theater, though. I was only 9. But yeah, I can imagine seeing this in the theater.
Is everything that Eddie Murphy touches gold?
For a long time.
Everything but the Golden Child. Although that was okay, but it was not. It was a kind of a miss.
Okay.
That was like the late 80s. But yeah, I don't think he did anything bad until Norbit.
Yeah, that's probably the first one I remember being like, ooh, critics aren't liking this one. I didn't go see it because it looked awful, but
yeah, like even the Nutty Professor kind of hit it out of the park. And you wouldn't expect it to. Like, you're just like, the premise is, he's trying to remake a Jerry Lewis movie. But it was different enough to where it did well. So yeah, probably Norbit. So he had a good 25-year run.
I think he's a treasure.
He is.
no, he's an all-time
He's-
great.
He's like Bill Murray, Tom Hanks, Robin Williams. Like, whatever you put him in, they're going to perform
Yeah.
above and beyond what was expected. And we'll talk about later what this movie originally was and how he made it what it is.
Let's do that now. I'm
We'll
interested.
do it now? Oh.
Tell me the
Well,
trivia.
I know you don't normally like trivia, but this stuff was interesting. I figured you would probably like it. The original directors that were possibly going to direct this was Scorsese and David Cronenberg. This
Go
was
on.
before, yeah, this was before it was a comedy. The script goes all the way back to like 78, 79-ish. Bruckheimer was one of the producers, so you kind of feel the early Bruckheimer with the car chases and the trucks through the street and stuff, which is something we covered a bunch in these cop movies. Possible Axles, Mickey Rourke, which you don't know who that is.
I know the name, but
serious actor. James Caan, who you know is Sonny from Godfather.
Yep.
De Niro, you know him from a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Al Pacino.
Okay.
Robin Williams.
Okay.
Richard Pryor.
Oh, you
Okay.
can see the evolution there. That's
Yeah.
funny.
John Travolta.
Okay.
And the last one is the biggest one that had the most impact. This was almost a Stallone movie.
Wow.
So when he came in, I don't know. Do you know any of this, Dan?
No, this is all
Okay.
news to me. This is
When
one of those kill your darlings kind of moments, I guess, as they're
Yeah.
just retooling the script every week.
Yes. And then once they went more comedy, they brought in people to do rewrites. And then when they got Stallone involved, he actually wanted to do rewrites to make it serious again. And he worked on it a little bit, and then they wound up going in a different direction. So he walked away.
Hmm.
And then he took all his ideas and wrote the script for Cobra. So we got Cobra,
Oh,
which
God.
we will probably watch at some point.
We could probably watch that next, but we're not going
We
to.
should watch Cobra, but we're not going to. So yeah, this was almost a Stallone movie. I never knew that
That's wild.
till recently.
Before you said Stallone, I thought you might say Nick Cage.
He was a little young.
Yeah, a little
This
early
movie's
for
like
kids.
Yeah.
2 years after Fast Times. So he was still Coppola, and he was kind of a nobody. Nick Cage.
But
could've
you
played
could focus
Rosewood.
on how good Judge
could've.
Reinhold did
He
so
did
soon
really
after
well.
playing a very convincing old teenager.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought that this was his first job out of, like he went right from Fast Times into the Academy.
He
and
got
then
real good at coffee tossing at Robbers, and pretty soon he got the bug.
Hope you had a really good piss, Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
only 2
man.
years. And Murphy's only 23 in his movie. So, yeah,
He's killing it.
this is lightning in a bottle, this movie. It's almost I would say it's near perfect.
Yeah, it is.
The language is kind of off the deep end in terms of like the amount of cursing compared to
Mhm.
anything we'd watched from this era. Like, I don't know when you say the F word 3 times a sentence became like the action movie, crime movie thing, but if it's this movie, it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
Because even coming from 48 Hours, I felt like it just tripled the profanity, which isn't huge, not a big deal. I don't care, but it was
But it
just
felt more
noticeably
spread out.
increased.
Yeah, it felt like in 48 Hours it was like used in certain scenes to kind of push the feeling of like the fact that he's a convict and the cop's really, really, really gruff and hates convicts, so there's a lot of language between them two, and then obviously the bar scene. And then Gans guys, I mean, Gans was completely a low life, so just that using the F word just to use it, it didn't seem that way because it seemed not pointless. In this, it's even better. Like, I think it's used, even though it is a lot of profanity, I think it's spread out enough to where it doesn't really stick out.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of my wife watching a movie with lots of profanity in it?
Mm-mm. Get the
w-
fuck out of
We
here.
were watching The Departed,
Okay.
right? So it's every other
Yes.
word in that movie.
It's like watching a Dice Man
And
performance.
we're watching it, and I'm just watching it, and I'm loving it. I'm watching it, loving it. And she's not loving it. And I'm like, how are you not liking this movie? She's like, there's so much cursing in this movie.
Mm.
And I'm like, I mean, it's, they're cops and gangsters, and like, she says, people don't talk like that in real life. And I was like, Oh yes, they fucking
yeah,
do.
In
She
church.
grew up in New Jersey and doesn't think people talk like
yes,
that.
they, oh yes,
I
they
hear
do.
language like that in grammar school.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, they do.
Yeah, I went to grammar school with like half the cast of Goodfellas.
Yeah.
It was like every other word. When I was growing up, the word fucking was like a word you threw in when you were pausing to try to find something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was your
It was your own.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't come off that bad to me. Fucking.
It's like when we watched that what the hell is that movie? Boondock Saints.
Did we watch? We didn't watch that.
I thought we did.
We have not watched that.
Oh, maybe that was my other movie
There's
club.
your Cheaters Club,
That dude,
First Wives Club.
look it up. I think they say the F word like 260 times in that
Nice.
movie.
Nice.
Well, there's
Doesn't
only
sound
so
like-
many words. I mean, what can you expect?
Yeah.
It's true.
Do you guys think it's wild that this movie came out from Paramount Pictures the same year as Friday 4?
Yeah.
Like, what a year.
Yeah, that was my other part of the trivia was this movie beat out Ghostbusters in the box office for the yearly or for the accumulation of full box office, and that year it also beat out Nightmare on Elm Street,
Mm-hmm.
Gremlins, Terminator. Like it wiped everyone.
Maybe you know what it was. They basically all these good movies split the vote. You know,
No, it's just money accumulated. There's no vote.
well, I mean, split the money. Yeah. So like, if each one of these movies came out in a consecutive summer,
Mm-hmm.
they all would have been number one.
I'd have to see when the release dates are. If there's like if Ghostbusters came out.
But that's
December.
crazy. This beat out Ghostbusters and
Yeah.
Terminator and
And what's funny is Eddie Murphy turned down the role in Ghostbusters to do this movie.
yeah.
So
And this movie, according to IMDb, grossed $235 million on a $13 million
13,
budget.
yeah.
Crikey.
Boom.
That's like Jason movie money. Like Friday 1, only scaled up 10 times.
That's like Avatar money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's a small
and
budget.
according, if you can believe IMDb, the opening weekend only 15 million. So you're talking about
Wow.
word of mouth
Word of mouth.
driving this thing.
That sounds like my profit margin when I buy comics. It's like, 10 cents. Oh, I just sold it for 100.
At IRS.
Shh. I can't.
You forgot. I sold it for 100 jelly beans.
Jelly beans. Yeah, take that out. There's 87,000 people
Sold
listening
it
to
for
this
100.
right now.
Sold it for 100 acorns.
I'm going for those new listeners.
And they're really bored.
Can you believe I got 100 acorns for this comic? I only paid 10 cents for
10
it.
cents. Holy Nikes. Actually, I haven't sold anything yet, so it doesn't matter.
There you
Oh, man.
go.
Thanks for the heads up.
This is not my locker.
This is not my locker.
Yeah. This is not my logger.
Oh man, so you've got a car chase like Blues Brothers. You got Judge Reinhold from Fast Times. You got Michael Jackson from Moonwalker. You got Ronnie Cox from RoboCop. Wait, we haven't watched Moonwalker yet,
We have not watched, but we did watch Thriller.
but we did watch Thriller. And,
And we got
oh
two
my god,
Thriller jackets in this movie.
when the
We
two
did.
guys are walking down the street in the
Yeah.
the Beat It and Thriller jackets or whatever, and he just starts laughing. It's
he's
like the
laughing
most
at 'em.
genuine hilarity. Oh my god.
It's scenes like that make. Did you ever see Wedding Singer?
Yeah.
Okay. The scene where Sandler's friend shows up at the party and he's wearing the Beat It jacket and he's wearing the glitter glove. And Sandler goes, "Dude, take that glove off. You look ridiculous." People were wearing those freaking gloves in places back then. So it was not weird in 83 to be wearing it. But he
Yeah.
was speaking for all of us when he says
Yeah.
that, which makes Eddie Murphy's laugh. Because when did Thriller come out? 82?
I think it was 83.
82, 83? So those jackets were like pretty fresh and new.
Yeah.
And he's already laughing at it. He's just like, and it did, like you said, it looked genuine. Like he did so many things, like that scene in the club. I think a lot of that is improv. The scene in the car with Taggart and Rosewood was improv. I don't know what. I would love to see the script. I don't know what was written, but I know a lot of the Eddie Murphy scenes are improv. The big cops these guys should be wearing capes. That was all improv.
Yeah.
So this is definitely the kind of movie where you want to sit down and watch it with the script and see how much shit he put in.
Yeah.
And it's so watchable, like rewatchable, to the point where when I was watching it yesterday, I was thinking to myself, like, Axel Foley is as good as like an Indiana Jones. Like Indiana Jones, you could take Indiana Jones. You can make 35 Indiana Jones movies. If they're well written and they have a, obvious, like a good object he's trying to find and a great story behind it, you can put him anywhere and he would be a great character to push the story along. Foley would be the same thing. Like I would watch him go, and with a good script, because I know Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not that good. But it has to have a good story. That character, you can put him in anything. That's how good he was. Like if they did one movie every year, if he became the new James Bond and they did a new movie every 1 or 2 years, it would have been fine because he would have carried it.
Yeah.
But the problem is studios get in the way, writers, and this and that, and then it changes everything. Plus, he gets a little cranky, too.
And they kind of painted themselves into a corner by calling the movie Beverly Hills Cop. Because now, if you want to do a sequel, generally you're going to have to find a new reason to bring him back to Beverly Hills.
Right.
Again. And so you really... like, you could do more movies with, and in today's world of, like, world building, you could do Axel movies not called Beverly Hills Cop. But in the 80s... Right. They expect the name to be the same and a number at the end.
Right.
Speaking of which, we might still get a Beverly Hills Cop 4 at some point.
It's possible.
That'd be amazing.
Apparently, they did film a pilot TV show. And it was about Axel Foley's, like, full-grown son. And it obviously didn't go anywhere past the pilot. But I think they might have canned it because they want to do a movie. Because when he did this, he did a sequel to Coming to America. It did not. It's supposedly not as good as the first one, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing I've ever watched. That's for sure.
So they're saying that he still has it, and it's possible to do it because everybody's still alive from other than Gilbert Gottfried.
Well, and here's the thing:
2 and 3.
I watched Coming to America because the sequel was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really have nostalgia for the first one. It was great, but I didn't have these long memories of loving the movie my whole life. And the sequel was still fine, even for a person who just saw the new one. So if they could even do that again with Beverly Hills Cop properties, that'd be fun.
Right.
Then you cross it over with Bad Boys and
that would be cool. Yeah, I could totally see Bad Boys being done in the 80s with Eddie Murphy as the Will Smith character.
Yeah.
And then I can't think of someone who could do the Martin Lawrence better than Martin Lawrence, but from the 80s.
Oh, man. You know who I would like to see as a partner to Eddie Murphy would be Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Playing it straight and tough, and then Eddie is like the goofy sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of get an Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence in Boomerang. And there's a lot of really, really classic scenes in Boomerang. So, you know what? I'll take that.
There you go.
Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy together are good. Because it's Eddie Murphy, David Alan Grier, Martin Lawrence, and I think that was it. But yeah, they're really good playing off each other. Now they're all old. But as you say, I guess Eddie still has it. If Coming to America was at least funny.
Yeah, no, it was fine.
It's never going to beat the original.
No.
Which I don't think they tried to do.
No, you can't get that much Jerry curl anymore. Like they just don't make that stuff in great enough quantity.
Eventually, I'm gonna watch it.
That was the funniest part for me was I know Eric LaSalle as Dr. Benson or whatever from ER.
Yeah.
And so, seeing him in Color of Night like traumatized me in college. And then to see him here, I was just like, oh God, like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Color of Night. Can we do that? Can we just skip whatever we were doing now that I'm thinking about it?
Color of Night. Is that the Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has my guy in it that I can never think of his name because the guy does the Chucky voice. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, me neither.
Why can I never think of his name? He's
Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif, my favorite character actor, and I literally can never recall his name.
Well, that's good. You don't know who he is.
That's right.
But he's in everything.
And he's always behind the plexiglass at your cons. And I think that's probably pretty smart. Good job, Brad Dourif.
Yeah, no one was wearing plexiglass this time.
Yeah.
Ralph Macchio had a mask on, but not when he was meeting people, only when he was walking the building, which was really strange.
Huh. I think that's the opposite of what he... No, it's fine. Good for the Karate Kid.
I could sit and watch it again like right now.
Yeah, much like Fast Times, I might watch this movie again this week just for fun. Although I guess that depends on what we're watching next, because that might change my mood. Travis, what are we watching next?
We're gonna stick with the police theme.
Ooh.
Okay.
I mean, spoiler alert. I don't know if you would have gathered that from the title of the movie.
We're gonna do... I don't know what year it came out.
I'll look it up real quick.
83, I think.
It's right around the same time.
Police Academy. Do you know anything about Police Academy?
He knows one thing about Police Academy, whether he remembers it or not.
Chris Farley's in it.
No.
Just kidding.
No,
I don't know.
That's Beverly Hills Police Academy.
I was thinking of Beverly Hills
good.
Ninja.
That was
okay?
funnier than I should have. I should have laughed a little harder because that was a good one.
What's funny is your sister, my wife, said, "Oh, we used to watch that all the time when I was a kid." I'm like, "No, you didn't." You did not watch this movie. There's no way your parents
No
watched
way.
Police Academy with you guys. I said maybe Police Academy 5 on regular TV.
Police Academy. What did we watch that she thought was Police Academy?
No, it was probably one of them, and it was probably on regular TV. So it was
Okay.
missing a lot of the good stuff.
Gotcha.
But number one is like,
All right, cool.
So it is
I
a
don't-
police movie. I don't know if you got that from the title, but
Yeah, yeah.
and it's from
And
84, so
apparently-
it's the same year.
oh, it's 84. Okay.
So it basically this is
Apparently-
another harmonic off of the previous stuff we've already watched.
Yes.
Where
Okay.
the films were going. This is the other direction from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
Or the same direction. Who knows? God, but Bruce Mailer's in it and I'm so excited.
Yes. No, I haven't watched this movie in a long time, so I'm excited.
Well, in a world where Vinegar Syndrome just announced that they're going to release Tropic of Cancer, the Giallo, onto Blu-ray, like a thing I've been hoping for years and never thought I would get, I'm going to put into the air, into the ether. I'm going to let the world know that if they're going to do that, then I want, speaking of Bruce Mailer, or Mailer, I'm saying Mailer. I want Funland to get a Blu-ray.
Okay.
Funland.
Well, they were at the con this weekend. You could have sat down and talked to them for 3 days if you wanted, but
He was at the con?
Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh,
has their
VS.
own booth.
Oh, I thought you meant Bruce
Yeah.
Mailer was at the con. I was like, what?
No, Bruce Mailer was that.
I love that guy. Tell you where I'm going. I'm going crazy.
I almost bought New York Ninja. No, I didn't.
Oh, the VS guys are great. You should have bought New York Ninja. But also Funland. Actually, last year they were teasing one of their upcoming releases, and it was like a theme park image as the tease, and I was like, finally, Funland. And then
Was it Fun House?
it was seriously just like a picture that said Vinegar Syndrome Land or something. It was like a picture, just a print you could hang on your wall. And I'm like, but the Funland.
One day.
Someday. Maybe. I don't know. It never really got a real DVD either. The DVD I found was legit sketchy. but it's written by the people that
Fine.
did like that 70s show
Okay.
later. And I sent you
Never
the
heard of
trailer years ago, and I will send it again while we're live so that you guys can understand how amazing this movie is. Funland trailer. It's fucking bonkers.
I feel like did we give Beverly Hills Cop long enough? I guess we did.
the thing about Beverly Hills Cop is it's just really good. You know, there's not a lot to
Sometimes-
analyze.
Yeah, sometimes with really good movies, like remember, like we just recorded a couple weeks ago, Hot Fuzz,
Mhm.
and we were all just like,
We
yeah,
just
that's
gushed
great,
a little bit. It's
and it was
great.
like 25 minutes it went by, and I mean, it's a really good movie. It deserves more than 25 minutes, but like, if the podcast episode is too short, go watch the movie.
yeah, go watch
Like
the movie.
it's good. All right, Dan's sending it over.
I sent
Okay.
you the Funland trailer. I know I've sent it to you before.
All right,
but-
we'll hit play at the same time, and I'll mute mine. Oh, I've seen this poster. I know this poster.
It's a cool poster. It's flippin' weird, man.
Oh, this movie is so Dan,
Oh, it's so bad.
and it's got subtitles.
Yeah, it's like Korean subtitles, which I'm fine with. Thank you, Korea.
Oh my God. Sorry, folks. The park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
God, this is like the most Dan movie.
This is. I'm waiting for someone to yell, "Garbage day!" Oh, it's rerun. Was that rerun?
I don't know. I don't know the cast that well. I just know that Bruce Mailer's in it because I was like, Axel, what?
Oh my God. Is this like Kentucky Fried Movie?
It's actually the trailer's kind of a mess. I mean, the movie's a mess too, but it's a narrative.
Is it Car Wash?
It's
I've
pretty
definitely seen this
wild.
before.
You've seen this movie?
No,
In
I've
your
seen
nightmares?
this. No, I've seen this preview.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just putting into the ether that I want Funland on Blu-ray. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Wow.
Oh man, talk about a movie that probably won't get a Blu-ray though. It's pretty legit sketchy. Oh, speaking of another movie that won't get a Blu-ray anytime soon, I finally found a DVD copy of Meet the Feebles.
Oh.
It was released in Korea, I assume South Korea, but I didn't really ask. But I bought it on eBay. It was cheap. It was like $6 plus like 5 shipping. And it's a good quality. It's probably a VHS rip that's been like repurposed to a DVD, but it's a pressed disc, not a burn.
Okay.
And it looks pretty good. And I put it on today just to make sure that it played and it sounded fine. And oh my God. Like, I knew that movie was fucked up when I watched it as like a movie to show people in high school. Like, look how weird this movie is from the guy that did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But man, that's a fucked up movie. So maybe I'll
One
get
day.
another one and send it your way so we can do that for the show.
Meet the Feebles.
Meet the Feebles. It's a nightmare. Yeah. Anyone who's seen the movie is currently thinking about how messed up it is, and anybody that hasn't yet is unaware.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's how long I
Police
had to
Academy.
reflect on Meet the Feebles. Oh my God. Hey,
George, you want to thank the listener?
George, thank the listeners and let's talk about Bad Boys.
Yes. Thanks, listeners. We're going to talk about Bad Boys now.
Wait, can we say something to the listeners?
Sure.
We would like to interact with people.
Okay.
So if you are a listener, if you are a fan, if you're not a fan, go over to the Facebook page, get involved, get your name out there. We talk about Aaron all the time. Aaron's very involved.
We do interact with our listeners.
If you're on YouTube,
It's quite fun.
come over. Send us some shit to talk about. We'll say names. We'll
Yeah.
ask us questions. We'll tell us movies you want us to watch. All that stuff. We'll tell you no or yes, depending on
No
if it fits in
spoilers, though.
No spoilers.
No
But
spoilers.
yeah, if you go over there, you will definitely have interaction. And, we'll say your name, whatever question or statement or whatever. I mean, Aaron's constantly sending us stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to send a shout out to Daniel Perez, who
Yes, Daniel as well.
is literally the funniest Facebook story person I have on my feed. Like, if he posts something to his story, I jump right to it because I know that guy only posts gold.
Nice.
So thank you, Daniel Perez. You post gold.
You post gold. So thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod and on Twitter and Instagram at remedialfilmpod. We'll be back next week with Police Academy.
Now on to Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. What you gonna do?
We gotta learn the lyrics.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Oddly enough, the song my brother walked out to in my wedding.
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah,
choice.
The Martin Lawrence version.
Yeah, every groom's person had their own song, and my brother came out to Bad Boys. The theme song to the cop show.
I remember that.
Yes. It was 37 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was 22 years ago.
I was going to say it was about 20.
If it's 2022, it's 22 years. I was married in 2000, so it doesn't matter.
Word up.
I always know how many years I've been married by what year it is.
That was
Nice.
a good trick.
Good trick.
Yeah. Good on you.
Good on me.
So, Bad Boys. I was supposed to settle the score and decide whether Bad Boys was boring or not. Right? Because that's why
The
we
original.
that's
Bad
why
Boys,
we
right.
went right to 2.
Right.
Was Dan's argument. 2 is just better.
Well, actually, what he said was 2
has more action.
1 was a lot like the movie we watched prior, which I think was
True Lies.
True Lies.
Okay.
And then 2 had extraordinary things that were beyond that. So
Had
we
vamped
watched,
it up.
Yeah. Plus, it kind of led into Hot Fuzz because they mentioned it a bunch of times.
Right. I did not think it was boring.
Oh, good.
It was not.
As a pair, they're perfect, right?
Yeah, I think I was bored with Bad Boys 2 because I didn't see Bad Boys 1, I think. Like, I didn't care about anything in Bad Boys 2. I just didn't.
What's funny is Bad Boys 2 has the same charm as 1. But I think the joke...
I didn't realize it.
Right. My point was the jokes don't land as well because the characters aren't fully established yet. When you watch 2 without watching 1,
Yeah.
you don't get the history of these two. Because I think the two of them, they have a lot of, I don't know, low-level interaction that is not, like, action-packed. It's, like, a lot of banter, a lot of, almost like Big Brother, Little Brother
Yes,
type
and
shit.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I like 1. Plus, I like Tia Leone. I'm a big fan of hers. So
She was the witness.
she was the witness.
Well, I can't compete with Taya Leone, but I might point out, if I was playing devil's advocate, that often on this show, I hear complaints from a certain George that, quote, "I'm not an idiot. I don't need you to say it so obviously."
That's
Mhm.
true.
It's
And
true.
with Bad Boys 2, you can surmise all the things. They give you enough.
You're right.
They're like, hey, this guy's on like meditation and pills. Like, he's clearly had a rough couple of years. You don't have to see him in one. You know, you get the idea.
I got the idea,
But you
But-
didn't put your heart in it, man.
but Joey Pants in 2
Is
is
a
so much funnier after you've
Yeah.
seen him in 1.
Because the other big thing that you're missing in 2 is his boss in 1. The woman that goes on to do CSI.
Yeah,
Is it CSI?
the internal affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she is like the wife that drives a man to drink. Like,
Yeah.
she completely makes him want to jump off a bridge.
Yes.
You can tell.
Yes.
Like, he has to answer to this person who is just on his ass constantly. So then he has to be on other people's ass for that same reason.
Yes.
Asses. as says, yeah, to me that's a fun dynamic because shit rolls downhill, and he's getting shit on, so then he shits on them.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's Joey Pants in Bad Boys 2 is way funnier after you've seen
Yeah,
Joey Pants.
and the
in
other
Bad
thing
Boys 1.
missing from 2 that I love about 1 is Marcus's relationship with his wife.
Yeah.
And you kind of miss that a little bit in the second one. Like that whole scene where he answers the phone and Mike is at his house. And she's like, "No, Mike, put it back in." And it's like he's like, what? He thinks it's totally a friend's moment.
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like almost like Three's Company.
Yeah.
That whenever Mr. Roper heard them talking, he always thought something was happening that wasn't.
Yeah.
Like,
which is funny because, I mean, obviously, like I'm nitpicking, but you know, the whole reason why Martin Lawrence and his wife have issues is because like he's never home, right? He's like always, you know, he's never there, blah blah blah, and then like they have how many days? 4 days.
Yeah,
it was until the
drop.
So like they have 4 days. They got to solve this thing, and then like all of a sudden, like there's a bunch of time spent at home just like swapped at each other's homes because they've taken on each other's
right.
They're
trying to trick the witness or keep her calm.
Right. And that, you know, that creates all that dynamic and that, you know, all the drama between him and his wife, and also between Will Smith and his masseuse and all kinds of people. But I just thought it was like really inconsistent to be like, these dudes are never home.
Right.
Like that's something that we established very, very clearly. They're never ever home. They're always working. And then now that they have only 3 days left or 2 days left, yeah, they just spend a lot of time at home now. They're looking at photo albums.
The only reason that kind of makes sense is that Marcus is babysitting. He's not home because he's babysitting. So he's got to babysit this witness. And Marcus is trying to hold.
All I'm saying is
down.
it was like, I get it for developing things and having drama. You need that, but it just wasn't really consistent.
Okay.
One of my things. Also,
the villain was better in the first one than the second one too, I think. Scott Stapp in the second movie.
I like
wasn't
Scott
as
Stapp
intimidating.
in the second movie. He's got his arms wide open. It's great.
I don't know. The bad guy in the first one seemed more intimidating, more drug lordish.
Yeah. What was the witness's name?
In real life?
Yeah.
Téa Leoni.
Yes. I don't know why they gave her any lines. It wasn't. I know it's not her because I've seen her in other things, and she's hilarious. Because I mean, I've seen her in one other thing, which was, I believe she was the wife in Fun with Dick and Jane.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. She's fantastic.
Yes. She's also in a very good Nicolas Cage movie that you probably should watch.
Okay.
At some point, she plays his wife. She's very good.
Okay. So I know it's not her. The lines written for her were terrible.
No, she's visual candy in this movie, and that's a
yeah,
Michael
she was.
Bay thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just like what's her name was in all the Transformers movies, Megan Fox. Like,
yeah,
they don't care what she's saying; they just want her to look good, and that's sad because I've seen her do other movies, and she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Same thing with Téa Leoni. She's good. She has good comedic timing. It shows a little bit of it in this movie, like almost by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Where she has a couple delivered lines where you're like, okay, if they gave her the time of day to be one of the comedic people in this movie, that would have landed a lot better. But
yeah.
They basically just wanted her to look good and, make sure the lighting was right on the slow motion stuff, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's a shame because she does have good comedic timing.
It is. Yeah, it is. So, all in all, the first movie, Bad Boys, was not boring. I liked it. In some ways, I liked it better. And I think watching the first one made me like Bad Boys 2 more.
So now
I'm
you got to go
curious
back
if
and
you-
watch Bad Boys 2 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll never know if you would have liked Bad Boys 2 from the get-go if you had already seen 1.
We will never know that.
We will never know that.
But I
But
think
either way, the science was there. It was good. I know why we did 2.
it was an interesting
It
experiment.
was a good experiment. I'm not mad at Dan for that. I understand why we did it. But
I'm glad I watched the first one because
Yeah.
it brought lots of things into perspective.
Good extra credit project.
100%.
Don't watch the
Next
third
week.
one.
Yeah, don't watch the third one.
Okay.
And next week you have to watch Wild Things again because there's a few things you missed.
No.
And if you don't, then we're going to watch Showgirls.
Showgirls.
We might
At this
still watch Showgirls.
At this point,
I don't
George
think,
wants to watch Showgirls, I think.
I mean, I can't see how a movie could be worse than Wild Things.
That's a challenge.
Bring on Showgirls.
Bring it on, Willie.
I'm ready. We can do a Showgirls Wild Things comparison, and I'll give you my honest opinion.
Well, we have obligations to the calendar that might interrupt our ability to jump into Showgirls right away, but soon we'll have to show some girls. But
Yes.
this
Sounds good.
Police Academy will launch on August 31st, and then we're in September. So
Fall break.
and that's
baby.
when we do
gotta do a fall
the
break.
start of some special fall stuff.
Fall stuff. We build our way to watch Ends.
Yeah.
So you get to hear our discussion about Halloween Kills.
I've been waiting a year to know what you're so
yeah.
pissed about.
I can't wait to not watch it.
It's gonna be so good. All right, dudes. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with Police Academy.
Peace.
Peace.